The system of government in the states of India. The system of governments in the states of India is an important topic to understand for various all India competitive exams. Here we take a look at all the important facts and details about how the system of government in the states of India functions. First comes the executive branch. Let's start with the governor. The state executive consists of governor and council of ministers with chief minister as its head. The governor of a state is appointed by the president for a term of 5 years and holds office during his pleasure. Only Indian citizens above 35 years of age are eligible for appointment to his office. Executive power of the state is vested in the governor. The council of ministers with chief minister as head aids and advises the governor in exercise of his functions except in so far as he is by or under the constitution required to exercise his functions or any of them in his discretion. In respect of Nagaland, governor has special responsibility under Article 371A of the Constitution with respect to law and order, and even though it is necessary for him to consult council of ministers in matters relating to law and order, he can exercise his individual judgment as to the action to be taken. Similarly, in respect of Arunachal Pradesh, governor has special responsibility under Article 371H of the Constitution with respect to law and order and in discharge of his functions in relation thereto. Governor shall, after consulting council of ministers, exercise his individual judgment as to the action to be taken. These are, however, temporary provisions if President, on receipt of a report from governor or otherwise, is satisfied that it is no longer necessary for governor to have special responsibility with respect to law and order. He may so direct by an order. Likewise, in the 6th schedule which applies to tribal areas of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram as specified in para 20 of that schedule, discretionary powers are given to governor in matters relating to sharing of royalties between district council and state government. 6th schedule vests additional discretionary powers in governors of Mizoram and Tripura in almost all their functions, except approving regulations for levy of taxes and money lending by non-tribal by district councils since December 1998. In Sikkim, governor has been given special responsibility for peace and social and economic advancement of different sections of population. All governors, while discharging such constitutional functions as appointment as of chief minister of a state or sending a report to president about failure of constitutional machinery in a state or in respect of matters relating to assent to a bill passed by legislature, exercise their own judgment. Next comes the council of ministers. The chief minister is appointed by the governor, who also appoints other ministers on the advice of the chief minister. The council of ministers is collectively responsible to legislative assembly of the state. The legislature. For every state, there is a legislature, which consists of governor and one house, or two houses as the case may be. In Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, there are two houses known as Legislative Council and Legislative Assembly. In the remaining states, there is only one house known as the Legislative Assembly. Parliament may, by law, provide for abolition of an existing Legislative Council or for creation of one where it does not exist, if proposal is supported by a resolution of the Legislative Assembly concerned. Legislative Council. Legislative Council or the Vidhan Parishad of a state comprises not more than 1/3 of total number of members in Legislative Assembly of the state and in no case less than 40 members. The Legislative Council of Jammu and Kashmir has 36 members by section 50 of the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. About 1/3 of members of the council are elected by members of Legislative Assembly from amongst persons who are not its members. 1/3 by electorates consisting of members of municipalities, district boards and other local authorities in the state. 1/12 by electorate consisting of persons who have been for at least 3 years engaged in teaching in educational institutions within the state, not lower in standard than secondary school, and a further 1/12 by registered graduates of more than 3 years standing. Remaining members are nominated by governor from among those who have distinguished themselves in literature, science, art, cooperative movement and social service. Legislative councils are not subject to dissolution, but 1/3 of their members retire every second year. The Legislative Assembly. The Legislative Assembly or the Vidhan Sabha of a state consists of not more than 500 and not less than 60 members. The Legislative Assembly of Sikkim has 32 members by Article 371F of the Constitution, chosen by direct election from territorial constituencies in the state. Demarcation of territorial constituencies is to be done in such a manner that the ratio between population of each constituency and the number of seats allotted to it, as far as practicable, is the same throughout the state. Term of an assembly is 5 years unless it is dissolved earlier. The powers and functions. State legislature has exclusive powers over subjects enumerated in List 2 of the 7th Schedule of the Constitution and concurrent powers over those enumerated in List 3. Financial powers of legislature include authorization of all expenditure, taxation, and borrowing by the state government. Legislative Assembly alone has power to originate money bills. Legislative Council can make only recommendations in respect of changes it considers necessary within a period of 14 days of the receipt of money bills from Assembly. Assembly can accept or reject these recommendations. The Reservation of Bills. The governor of a state may reserve any bill for the consideration of the President bills relating to subjects like compulsory acquisition of property, measures affecting powers and position of high courts and imposition of taxes on storage, distribution and sale of water or electricity in interstate river or river valley development projects should necessarily be so reserved. No bill seeking to impose restrictions on interstate trade can be introduced in a state legislature without previous sanction of the President. Control over executive. State legislature, apart from exercising the usual power of financial control, use all normal parliamentary devices like questions, discussions, debates, adjournments, and no confidence motions and resolutions to keep a watch over day-to-day work of the executive. They also have their committees on estimates and public accounts to ensure that grants sanctioned by legislature are properly utilized. Thank you very much for listening.